Welcome to my channel, Change Spider Tarot. We are going to be doing a pick a card reading today. I've selected 4 variations using 4 different decks, and we're going to be looking at the question, is this love? So the first one we'll be doing and taking a look at is the lava stone. The second will be the clear quartz. The third will be the Green Aventurine. And the fourth variation, the fourth pile, is the Rhodonite. And I hope you can see that with this lighting. All right, so make your selection and we will get started with pile number 1. All right, for those of you that selected pile number 1 or the lava stone, let's take a look. Is this love? We have the Emperor, the Hierophant, the 9 of Swords, the King of Cups, the Empress. Wow, we have the Empress and the Emperor, so there's definitely a pair up, a match up. Some kind of commitment was here for sure, and the 3 of Swords. Okay, so is this love? There was definitely love here. There is definitely a true pair, a true connection here. There was definitely some level of commitment. I would probably venture to say a very strong one. I would also say that there was a strong heart connection. So this was a genuine, there was something true and real and heartfelt and committed, you know, on some level. And I would venture to say that this is was more of a more serious connection, a more serious type of commitment. And for those of you, just a subset that might be on a twin flame path, or like a soulmate path, however you refer to it, you may feel an incredibly strong tug, an incredibly strong pull for this person that you have in mind. Even if it never physically manifested, because you may have had a connection, a commitment, a soul contract in the past, okay? So that's, you know, for a small subset of you. But I would say for most of you, this connection has manifested in this lifetime. It has been like a 3D type of connection. And now we have the 9 of Swords and the 3 of Swords. So this relationship most probably has ended for most of you. For those of you where it's still going, this relationship is causing quite a bit of stress and turmoil and heartache and heartbreak. I know this looks like there's a reversal. I'm not reading reversals right now, so I'm just going to make these match so I'm not throwing anybody off. There is something that has gone on in this relationship which has severed the connection, severed the trust, severed the love, has created fear, has created betrayal. I feel like the connection has kind of been ripped apart. And that's not because there wasn't a true connection, and that's not because there wasn't genuine feelings. Something happened. And now one or both of you are feeling an incredible amount of stress, anxiety, pain, discomfort, everything that comes from losing someone that you genuinely bonded with, somebody that you genuinely cared with, somebody that you genuinely shared your life with, shared emotions with, that has been severed. That has been, trust has been lost. Trust in the relationship has been lost. And so if you're wondering, so if you're in this, and I'm guessing this applies for most of you here, where this relationship has ended, and you're feeling especially right around Valentine's Day, you know, the emotions and the intensity of that must be pretty intense right now. So if you're really feeling that and you're wondering, like, you know, should I be wasting my time, my effort, energy on this? You know, obviously I can't make that decision for you, but if you're wondering if this was a genuine connection, if there was love here, these cards very strongly suggest that there was a true, genuine love, heartfelt connection here. And there was something that happened where that commitment was lost. That heart connection was lost because there was some kind of either a betrayal or and a betrayal doesn't necessarily have to mean cheating, like with another person. It could mean, you know, somebody was dishonest about finances, or somebody was dishonest with their words, not necessarily cheating, right? They just weren't necessarily honest. And so there was some kind of betrayal that happened. Yeah, that's tough, because this really looks like there was a genuine connection, commitment here. Okay, so yes, there was definitely love here. Let's take a look and see. I pulled a Universe Has Your Back card to see what kind of advice you might be able to utilize. And we have, let's see, I surrender to a power greater than me or myself. Yeah, I actually like that for this spread here, because clearly, if this is resonating for you, you're in the thick of some serious emotions, and like I can imagine you're going through like a reckoning of, you know, WTF, why did I spend my time, effort, and energy on this? These types, what I'm getting from this is going to take a minute to get over. This isn't something where you just decide, like, you know, F this person, I'm going to go out and pick somebody up and get over this person. This is not that kind of relationship. This is going to take a minute to kind of work through whatever happened here. And I really, and because I was picking up on that, I really like this advice card for you. I surrender to a power greater than myself, because when we're in the thick of things, like, you know, again, if this is resonating, you're in the thick of something pretty serious here, emotionally and probably physically, but you're probably dealing with some physical exhaustion too. You know, the loss of sleep type of thing, you know, everything that goes along with, you know, maybe you were used to having them there, sleeping next to you, and now they're not there anymore, right? All those kinds of things. I love this, to surrender, right? So to kind of, when we're in that state of, again, here we have fear, when we're in that state of like fear and anxiety and why and how, you know, what could I have done and should I have done, and doing all that, right? We stay in this state of, we stay kind of hooked into that energy. It doesn't necessarily help us to kind of move forward, right? And so this is suggesting to surrender, as hard as that sounds when you're in the thick of something like this, to surrender to the idea that your paths may have crossed for a reason, right? That this relationship served a purpose for you, and to maybe look towards that, and to surrender to that, right? As opposed to fighting it, which is second guessing yourself and maybe beating yourself up and maybe being pissed off or resentful at them, and all the things that go on when we lose somebody we truly care about, and clearly in a not great way. You know, if you find comfort in that, I hope you find some kind of comfort in that, where, you know, you can just maybe let the anxiety go, the blame, the hurt, the frustration, the anger, like all of that, right? And like experience the emotions, have the emotions, but release them, right? Release them and say, I've done what I can here. You know, I did what I could. If this was meant to be, it will come back type of idea, right? So all of that. Just letting the negativity, which is clearly here, the negativity tied to this relationship, whatever that was, to surrender it over, whatever that means to you, as opposed to holding on to it. And I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to keep this as general as possible because not all of you are going to believe in a higher power, and not all of you are going to believe, in universal consciousness. And so I personally do. So I'm trying to kind of state this in as most general a way as I possibly can. So for those of you that picked the lava rock or the first variation here, I hope you find that helpful or confirming or affirming in some way. And I wish you the best, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. All right, and for those of you that picked the second pile or the clear quartz, let's take a look at the question, is this love? And we'll take a look at this advice card at the end. So we have the Ace of Cups. We have the Six of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the King of Swords, the Strength card, and the Three of Swords. Wow. So what I am getting from this one is that someone in this relationship or in this potential connection, I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. Someone is someone is still healing from a past relationship. So one of you is still in the healing process, what I call the healing process. And so one of you is being very strategic about how you're approaching this connection, and there's for sure a connection. So the fundamental question is this love. There's definitely the potential here for that, right? With the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, we definitely have some passion, we have some spark, we have some, genuine like interest and a potential for an emotional connection. The challenge I see here is that someone is still in the process of getting over a previous hurt. And so they may be more guarded than you are. So, I don't know who you is, but I feel like this is one of you, and then this is the other of you in this partnership that you have in mind. One of you is like open heart, ready to go. You've probably gone through some shit, or one of you has gone through some shit, but you've done the work, you've done the healing, and you're like, your heart is open. And and when I say you, apply it to whomever is appropriate, ready to go, right? One of you is like ready to go and ready to make the connection, and all about it. The other one, I'm not saying isn't necessarily, I'm saying that they're more guarded. All right. One of you is much more guarded emotionally than the other one because of past experiences. And so you may find, depending on which one you are in this connection, they may be a little bit hard to figure out. They may be playing a little hard to get. They may, not necessarily be ready for what the other person is. The other person is ready to go. This person's still working on healing and trying to let go of some things that they've gone through. And it looks like they've gone through something probably not very pleasant. So I wish I was gonna, I did not factor in pulling more cards for this, but it would have been interesting to kind of dig into this one a little bit more, just to kind of, you know, see where this might go. But if you're here to kind of get some level of validation or clarification on this particular connection, there's definitely the potential for love here. One of you is definitely ready. The other one, you might need to give them some time. You may need to, you know, they may need a little bit of space more than you need or the other person needs. And there might be a conversation might be helpful. Maybe, so if you're this person, right, if you're the person that's ready to go, maybe the other person needs to talk a little bit, you know, or maybe they need some space, or maybe you can ask them what would be helpful for them, right? Because it really does look like the potential is there. So that's for, I would say, like the majority of you. I'm also getting that there's a subset here where one of you is super duper duper into the other one, but the other party has, they're actually, the door is actually kind of shut for them right now, where they're not capable and or willing to make a heart connection at this point in time. All right, and so kind of related to what we were just talking about, where this might not be the most opportune time to pursue this connection for a subset of you, okay? So it's either this person wants to make a connection, they just need to take it super slow because they're still healing and you might need to give them a little bit more space than you want to, or this might not be the absolute right time to kind of go after this particular person and go after this particular relationship. They may not be ready to receive at this point in time. So possibly something to look at in the future, but you might want to just kind of put this one on the back burner for some of you. You might want to consider doing that because one of the people here is not ready to kind of proceed in this love. All right, so let's take a look and see what the universe has your back card has to say for this. The key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. That's really interesting because for me, that ties into the second kind of scenario that we were just talking about, which is, you know, I think one of you is like really kind of hot and heavy after this person, and this person might not even know. You know, you might just kind of be, you know, a little lusting after them on the side, you know, with this strength and this Ace of Wands, there might be a little lust happening from one of you, and the other person might not fully know the, you know, the way the other one feels. And so you know, the prayer, right? The prayer piece is, you know, you might just be thinking about this a lot, right? You might be putting a lot of mental effort and energy into this. If you're not physically, you know, pursuing it, if you're not actually pursuing it, you might be thinking about it a lot. And so the suggestion here is to just maybe let that go a little bit, let that go and just kind of see how this unfolds. Because one of these people, and I think this ties in because one of these people isn't ready to necessarily proceed just yet. And, you know, for some of you, they might not even know that you're interested. And so if you're this person and you're ready to go, I think the suggestion is for you, which is to maybe, you know, let the universe kind of guide this, and let the universe really let you know when the right time is to pursue this, because my feeling with these cards is if you try to push this relationship to happen right now, it may backfire and you may lose this opportunity because this one of these, you know, this other person is not ready yet. And so I think that's what the suggestion is here, is you may feel like you are ready for this and you want this, you need it, right? The suggestion is to kind of see if you can let that way of thinking go and kind of just turn that over and let the universe guide where this relationship is supposed to go. Because I really do believe that if you try to force this right now, it may not go the way that you want it if you're this person. All right, if you're the person that's ready to go. All right. I hope that you find that affirming or helpful in some way. And I hope to see you soon. Take care. All right, if you you didn't prick, you picked the Green Aventurine or the third pile. Let's take a look and see about answering this question. Is this love? So we have the Star, the Queen of Cups, the Ace of Cups, the Six of Swords, the Nine of Swords. Interesting how we're getting repeat cards across the variations. It's really interesting when that happens. And the Two of Wands. What I am getting from these cards is that there was a love connection that was started, but it ended very quickly and very abruptly is what I'm getting from this. Like, I feel like you guys were off to like a really, really good start. That there was like a really, it was kind of one of those connections where you meet and everything just kind of falls into place and it's like, holy shit, I think this is the one, right? Like it was that kind of thing. But I'm getting from these cards that it was short-lived. It was a short-lived, and then something happened here. Something happened that severed the connection, and it started out like I feel like it started out beautifully. And there was a lot of hope and like, you know, I feel like I'm getting like high hopes. There was like really, you know, kind of excited high hopes for this connection. And then it got severed in some way. For some of you, it could be that the person got called away to, it could have been a job, you know, maybe it could be, I don't know why I'm getting the military. I never get the military, but I just got like military. Maybe they got deployed or something. And, you know, and you're both really sad about it. You know, it's like, it was like this beautiful connection that started and then something happened and it got cut short. So the answer to the question, you know, is this love? I think there definitely was the potential for this to be. I think this was a very strong connection. I think this was really intense for both of you. You know, I'm getting emotionally stable. You know, that there was reciprocal, like maybe you were both equally emotionally available. You know, I'm getting a real balanced energy from this, where I'm not getting power struggle. It's just something happened that severed. It's something severed the connection. But when the connection was there, when the connection was active, I feel like this was very solid. You know, solid from the standpoint of like it was. There were reciprocal feelings. It wasn't one-sided. I feel like both of you were about at the same level in terms of your emotional availability and the connection that you had and the feelings that you had for each other. You know, I'm getting, this was all really good, but it was almost kind of like it had to end almost as soon as it started. I feel like you guys didn't have very much time together. Dang it. I'm kind of sad. yeah, something pulled this relationship apart very soon after it got started. Well, in cases like this, so if this is resonating for you, maybe, you're probably feeling this way right now, right? Sad and anxious, and, I miss them, and all of that. But there was definitely something here. So, if there's a way to keep the connection alive, maybe this wasn't exactly the perfect time for whatever reasons. Again, maybe they got pulled away because of work, or deployed, or maybe some family thing, or I'm not really getting family, but it could be you guys have to separate for some reason. Provided that reason isn't, because I'm not getting that this was like a shitty reason, right? That there was a betrayal or something. I'm getting that this was more like something that you didn't have control over, and it was done with like a heavy heart. And so if there's an opportunity to keep a connection, I feel like if I were in this particular energy, I feel like I would want to, even though I may not physically be able to be with that person. So I'm kind of putting myself in your shoes right now. But for some of you, that just may be too painful, and of course it's your life, and you'll have to make that decision for yourself. But this feels really kind of good. With the exception of that it ended very quickly, and not because, I don't think because either of you wanted it to. So that's what's making me say, like, if there's a way to keep the communication, pen palette, or, maybe just keep the lines of communication open. All right, so let's take a look and see what the universe has your back card has to say for this one. I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. I love this card for a lot of reasons, but I really love it for this reading, especially since we have the Nine of Swords here, and that I was getting that, this separation was done with a heavy heart, and not because either of you necessarily wanted it to happen. And so, I think what this card is suggesting is that if we stay in this mindset, and we stay in the, just the sadness of it, right? When you lose somebody, or you can't be around somebody that you really care about, but the connection's still there, it hurts, right? It's painful. And so the suggestion here is to maybe try to shift out of this sadness and this anxiety about whether or not you're going to be able to reestablish this connection, and instead to focus on this, which are these awesome feelings that you guys had together and for each other. Clearly, there was some intensity here, and this was, again, it was just the beginning of it. So that excitement, to maybe focus on that, right? That new love, that feeling of new love that we all love so much, to try to keep that alive in your mind and in your soul and in your heart, as opposed to, instead this fear and anxiety and worry and frustration and all the things that go along with the Nine of Swords, to instead choose to focus on what you had when you were together and the feelings that you had for each other when you were together. All right, and to project that out into the universe as opposed to staying in this type of mindset. And I know that's easier said than done. But what we put out in my experience, and I am speaking, from, this has not just happened once, twice, it's happened multiple times for me. What I put out there in terms of my mental energy is definitely what I get back. And so you can take that for what it's worth, okay? All right, I hope you found that validating and helpful in some way. And I hope to see you around. Take care. All right, if you chose the fourth pile or the Rhodonite, let's take a look and see about answering the question, is this love? So we have the Seven of Pentacles, the King of Swords. So there have definitely been repeat cards across all four of these, which is really interesting to me. Three of Cups. The Eight of Swords. Yeah. The Knight of Cups. And the Wheel of Fortune. All right, y'all. For those that chose the fourth variation or the fourth or the Rhodonite stone, this one is tricky, okay? Tricky from the standpoint of I can't say that there's love here, that, you know, what I would consider true love, and I was able to say that for the previous three. For me, this one, someone in this connection may not be fully forthcoming with all of the information that they're giving. Someone in this connection may be involved with more than one person, and one of you is kind of just maybe waiting in the wings for them to kind of come around, and you're not exactly sure. It's like you don't understand. Like I feel like they're stringing you along, and you could be, you know, I don't know which of you this is in the partnership, but for sake of, you know, not confusing myself as I'm speaking, I'm going to assume that you're the person who wants this connection, and that you feel like you're being strung along by this person. And you may suspect that they may be involved with other people because their communication with you might be sporadic. It might, you know, when they communicate with you, they might be very kind of loving, and then all of a sudden, like, they fall off the face of the earth for a day or two, and you don't hear from them, and then they reach back out, and so they're kind of leaving you in the state of confusion. And so, you know, I feel like one of you wants this connection to turn into something, and the other person, and this other person for me is this Knight of Cups. This person is maybe, you know, offering something, but I don't know how genuine that offer is, if that makes sense, okay? And so that's something for you to keep in mind as you continue to think about this, because clearly I feel like, you know, I'm assuming you are, you know, in this state of kind of waiting, and they're leaving you in this state of, you know, for me, I'm getting like a state of anxiety about this relationship. Like, is this going to happen? Is this person really into me? Should I even bother with this person? You know, why aren't they responding in a timely manner? Like, why am I feeling so? Well, when we find in my opinion, when we find ourselves in these types of situations and we're having to ask all these damn questions, it usually means something's up. So I would say listen to your intuition. If your intuition is nagging you, even if you truly are digging on this person and you think they're you know, really attractive, and you really want to, you know, get to know them, or you really want to be with them, or maybe you were with them in the past and you want to kind of reestablish the connection. I'm getting some caution here, and I'm getting that they may, you know, have their hands in more than one pot, and I don't feel like there's genuine, true heart connection here. I feel like there might be some superficial type of heart connection here. I don't know that this person is fully emotionally available. The other person, one of you. I don't know that this is the right time with this Wheel of Fortune. You know, this person might have come back around from the past. You know, I am starting to kind of get that a little bit here from, you know, this might be a connection that you had in the past, and it's kind of coming back around, and they're not treating you the way that they used to. And so it's leaving you in some kind of state of confusion where, you know, you thought that you guys might be able to get back together, but you're not. Something's off. Something's not feeling right. And so if your intuition's been telling you that and you're looking for validation, I think I'm giving that to you. If your intuition has been nagging you about, kind of what this person's about, whether or not they're available for you right now, whether or not they're sincere, I would caution you at this point in time and say, just listen to your intuition and maybe ask some questions if that's an option. I don't know that this is the right time for this particular connection. It feels a little bit like I'm getting a lot of anxiety just even looking at these cards, if I'm being honest. It's giving me anxiety. Yeah. And with the King of Swords here, the Father of Swords, this person might be doing a strategic, they might, not strategic, that's not the word. They might be kind of playing a little bit of a game. And so maybe a suggestion there for you is like, you might not, that I am suggesting to play games with people, but you might want to, if your heart is open and you're really ready to reconnect with this person, and you feel like they might be playing you a little bit, maybe play them back a little bit, or kind of mirror them or match what they're doing and see how that, if that doesn't wake them up, if you do genuinely feel that this is a connection that's worth pursuing, which these cards are not screaming that at me, but I'm not in your shoes, so you have to decide that for yourself. The other thing that I'm getting here, this is kind of shitty, but I'm going to say it. If this was a connection that you had in the past and it ended, and this person came back around now, they might be effing with you a little bit, or vice versa, if you're the one doing the effing, in terms of like trying to mess with somebody's head. I'm getting that a little bit here with this Knight of Cups and this King of Swords like this. And then all the anxiety that I'm getting here, like the kind of the weight, not anxiety from like just having to wait and like being uncertain and unsure. They might, I don't know the way things ended. So for those of you where this is resonating in terms of, this is a previous person that's kind of come back around now. If this ended in some kind of shitty way, and so maybe maybe something happened and, you had to apologize, or one of you had to apologize because you didn't behave properly, but the relationship ended because it was just too much of a betrayal or something. And now time has passed and you've kind of come back together. Yeah, one of you has invited the other person back in, but the person that allowed the person kind of to come back in, right? The person that had to apologize, I think that there might be a little bit of like, there's some distrust still here. There's some resentment that's still being held on to. There's something that still hasn't been released. And so I think that's why I'm not getting that there's a possibility for this love here, this love connection to actually happen at this time, because somebody's either holding on to resentment or hurt. And so I think they might be messing with you a little bit, right? And maybe that's why they're not responding, and they're, so maybe they're playing you a little bit because maybe in the past they felt like they got played. That's the kind of energy I'm getting. It's kind of that type of thing where, you can't have a heart connection if somebody's holding on to hurt and resentment and hasn't fully forgiven, right? And so they might be playing a little bit of a game, which sucks, but I am getting that from these cards. And I don't like to have to say that, but that's what I'm getting here. All right. And that of the four variations that I did today with this is the only one that came out like this. So I think that that's significant. Okay. So let's see what the advice card is. Oneness is my true nature. All right. What I am getting from that, I think it ties into what we were just talking about. Oneness, I'm taking to mean like this is maybe not the best time to try to partner up with somebody And I really don't think it's the best time to partner up with this particular person that you had in mind when we started this reading. This may be a good time for you to kind of do your own thing for a minute. And if you're not open to doing your own thing for a minute, this might not be the thing to do it with. Like the oneness, what I'm getting from this card is, in this case, is the oneness means apart and away from this energy, right? Because I'm not getting that this is necessarily a healthy energy. And your true nature, you know, I like that too, because when we're comfortable within ourselves, when we're comfortable by ourselves, when we're comfortable, you know, with ourselves, whichever way you want to say it, we really can project that then out to other people, right? And so sometimes we have to take some time to be alone and to be with ourselves or be with our friends or our pets or whatever, and not worry about, you know, where a particular connection with another human being is going, and to just kind of let things unfold the way that they will. And some things, you know, are not necessarily worth the energy that we put into them. So I really do feel like in this connection, one of you is open and willing to put forth some energy. I'm not getting like crazy energy, but one of you is more open to communicating and putting some energy towards this, and the other one is being wishy-washy and really leaving the other person in a state of confusion. And, you know, it's not clear where this is going. And I do feel like for most of you, it's because there's some kind of hurt or resentment that's being held onto, or this person's just a player. You know, it's, you know, could be either of those scenarios. If this was not a past connection, if this is somebody new that's come around, this person just might not be in a place where they can be with one person right now. They might not be fully emotionally available. Their heart might not be fully open and ready. And so that's probably why you're feeling a little bit confused. So this might be time to kind of, you know, the oneness, just maybe let yourself separate from this a little bit might be the suggestion here, and see how that unfolds in time. All right, well, I hope that you found that validating or helpful in some way, and I hope to see you around. Take care.